Hey, this is Steve, and I'm going to do a short video today on muscle testing. But muscle testing, is it a scam, quackery, or is it a really useful tool to help people? And the answer is yes, all above. Really, muscle testing is a tool, and the effectiveness and benefit of the tool really depends on the circumstances it's applied in and who is using it and really what their intention is. It's very important. But first I'd like to say, people usually, well, not usually, everyone takes information that they get and they put it in a box, and different boxes have different labels, okay? The problem comes when you come across something that you don't really have a good box for, okay? And people can do one or two things. They can make a box that says stuff that I don't really understand yet that may be beneficial, or they have a box called, since I don't understand it, it's a scam, or can't be true, or quackery, whatever. And it's really important to not have a box that you automatically toss everything you don't understand into as being quackery or BS. Okay, muscle testing is definitely one of those. It can be difficult to understand and explain. So make sure your knee-jerk reaction isn't to just completely discount it. Now, muscle testing, again, to review, is basically a built-in lie detector test in your body. When you make a true statement, your body, if done properly, should show a small increase in strength, and when you make a false statement, it should show a decrease in strength. Muscle testing can be used to test for food allergies, if your body likes different supplements. It can also be tested to track down the root cause of emotional issues. In other words, like a blown emotional fuse. Personally, there's a few things that help me be very effective in muscle testing. If I am trying to do muscle testing to prove to you that muscle testing works, or that I'm good at it or impressive, almost all the time I've tried to do it in that type of circumstance, I'm horribly inaccurate. Okay, I'm a little bit more accurate if I'm just really trying to help you, and I'm not don't have my ego attached to it or pride attached to it. That I don't really care if you think I'm right or wrong. I'm just really playing around with it to see what comes up. I'm much more effective in that situation. When I'm doing muscle testing to see what supplements work or what your root health issue is, I can be decently effective. It can be a little more difficult to be neutral in that situation. In other words, if you tell me what's going on with your health, and if I spent, almost 20 years in the holistic health field, it's difficult not to have a predisposition on what I think the problem is, and then have muscle testing confirm that, and also confirm what I really think you should be taking as a supplement. Okay, that can be difficult to be neutral in, and that's probably the most common circumstance that practitioners use muscle testing for, is for physical health-related issues, what your food allergies are, what supplements you need, and how much. My favorite area to use muscle testing in, because I'm able to be the most neutral and as a result the most accurate, is dealing with people who are having emotional issues that I don't know very well, and tracking down where they've blown an emotional fuse. Okay, a good example of this is basically when you're doing muscle testing for health-related issues. I, as the practitioner or the muscle tester, tell you what the situation is and what you need to take. Okay, and there's really no quick feedback on whether I'm being accurate, outside of you following my protocol and coming back later and telling me if that was beneficial. When I'm doing muscle testing for emotional issues, the feedback is very quick, because especially if I don't know your life story, and I tell you very specific type of emotional issue, very specific date, which I really have no way of knowing, and you tell me, wow, that's totally accurate. This is exactly what happened to me when I was 6 years old, and you've just described that pretty accurately. So what happens is we get very quick feedback, you telling me whether I'm accurate or not. And that's really my preference, because I get very quick feedback on whether it's accurate or not. Here's an extreme example for you. Often the bulk of the muscle testing I do is for people over the phone. I call it proxy muscle testing. And yes, it's weird, but it does work. And no, most people don't have a box to put that in. But my sister called me one day, and she just adopted a golden retriever. And one of the things I use is a technique called the emotion code, which works actually very well for pets. And she called me up and she says, look, she goes, my dog that I adopted is having major issues. Can you think you can do some muscle testing for him? I'm like, sure, I'll try it. I have no idea this works. I'm always willing to try stuff and play around with it. I go, well, let's try, see what happens. So doing this and using this technique called the emotion code, I said, well, from what I can tell, my educated guess is that your dog has a heart wall of jealousy from 2 years ago. Well, this is a dog she's had a week. There's no way of knowing if I'm accurate. So we release that emotional issue, and a few days later she calls me and she goes, this dog is doing way better. But still, I don't have any definitive proof that what we did was accurate or whether that actually created the benefit for the dog. However, a week after that, she called me back and she goes, very interesting. She goes, I called the old owner's dog, the dog's old owner, and said, what's the history on my dog? And they said, 2 years ago, our daughter bought a little white fluffy dog and quit paying attention to your dog. So there we have very clear confirmation that I was being accurate in muscle testing in a situation I had no way of knowing. Often with my clients, for example, I was doing testing for a young woman who was so afraid of being alone that she was actually living a lesbian lifestyle, even though she said, look, I wasn't born that way. I didn't know her that well, but I said, well, what's this specific emotion? Gave her a description, told her the age. This thing at 19. She goes, that's the first time I tried to kill myself with drugs. I said, okay. This thing at 21. She goes, that's the second time I tried to kill myself with drugs. I go, okay, this issue at 9 years old. She goes, that's the first time, that would probably be the first time I get kicked out of my house. I'm like, okay, this issue at 12. She says, well, that's the second time I got kicked out of my house. And so here we have 4 very clear things that I didn't know about her, that she gave me feedback that I was being accurate over and over and over. Then the next thing that tells us if we're being accurate or effective is she went from being on a 0 to 10 scale of like 30, that she didn't want to be alone, to a 2. And that's in about 60 minutes. And then she would always give me feedback every time I saw her again that she goes, oh, I like spending time by myself now. So for me, that's just in multiple ways feedback that the testing I was doing for her was very accurate and effective. I'll give you an extreme example of muscle testing being used as quackery. People on eBay selling you a muscle testing device, and they say one of the benefits is you can use this device I'm selling to you for $4.99 to accurately test for winning lottery numbers. Please, okay? If it was possible to test for winning lottery numbers, I don't think they would be spending their time selling devices for $4.99 on eBay. Just a guess. I think they would just win the lottery and go live on a beach somewhere. So those are a few things. Again, muscle testing is just a simple lie detector test. It's a tool. The effectiveness of the tool depends on the intention of the person doing it, their skill set in doing it. I saw one person on YouTube trying to show that muscle testing was fake by doing muscle testing on another person and showing them, see, it doesn't work. Well, first of all, he doesn't have any experience in it, doesn't believe in it in the first place. I find when I do muscle testing for people, it can be absolutely dramatic how easy and how accurate it is depending on the person I'm testing. If I find, wow, it's like wading through molasses and I'm not getting clear yes or no's, I'll ask the person, I'm like, you're not really too into this, are you? They're like, no, this is kind of weird. I'm like, well, I can tell. This is super challenging to do this for you. With other people, it's like so easy and so accurate and so clear yes or no's, and they're totally bought into it. And it's very easy to be accurate and very easy to help them. So trying to evaluate muscle testing from a skeptical perspective is going to be very challenging, and it will probably confirm to you that muscle testing does not work. Anyways, hope this is helpful. Please comment, ask some questions, tell me if this is helpful, rate it, and subscribe. I appreciate it. Thanks.